Today's topic is exercising throughout the day. So learning what that looks like and giving you lots of examples of how you can do that, giving you a strategy so that you can actually implement what we're going to be talking about at home, and hopefully sharing a few different examples of how and why it's important to just move and exercise throughout the day. So I'm excited to get into that. Thanks so much for being here tonight, everyone. So as I was mentioning, we're going to be having our topic evolve around exercising throughout the day. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and just dive in. As always, if this is your very first time with us in our Moving with MS virtual support group, an extra welcome to you. This is something that we do every month. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Dr. Gretchen Hawley, a physical therapist and multiple sclerosis certified physical therapist at that. So I focus on exercises and strategies and techniques and tips and tricks that will not only help you improve strength and balance and flexibility, but also improve function. Because at the end of the day, one of the most important things when it comes to exercising is that your function improves and gets easier. Meaning, yes, you're stronger, but you're also walking better. Stair climbing is also easier. You can stand longer. You can stand up from low surfaces with better strength. You can stand up from the floor. These day-to-day activities that a lot of people take for granted can be really challenging with MS. And if you're not exercising in the right way, it's very possible that you could be improving your strength, but those functions and activities aren't improving as well. So we're going to be focusing on what you can do to actually improve your function in lots of different ways. And just today's specific topic, this month's topic, is how to do that via exercising throughout the day. Michelle is asking, who is the Missing Link workbook on Amazon? That is, so if you go, a month ago, I launched a book. I have it right here called The Missing Link. And there's two different workbooks and a summary. There's other things on Amazon. For The Missing Link, it has no relation to me or the book. They are just people who are, I don't even know, I haven't purchased them myself. So they're not in any relation to my book or anything that I have allowed. They're just people who are trying to put out other things. So the only thing that I have created is the Missing Link book that I just showed you, and it's available on Amazon and in bookstores. As I mentioned, this is our Moving with MS virtual support group. I partner with MS Visa News to offer this to you guys, and a huge thank you to our supporter, VIATRIS. We are going to let me move this. There we go. Again, talk about exercising throughout the day. And I first just want to discuss why that's important, and also change our mindset a little bit around what exercise even means. So hands up, if I could see you, I'd want your hands up. But as you can see on this slide, type in the chat box, yes or no, if you feel like you either don't have enough time in the day to exercise, or you don't have enough energy in the day to exercise all at once, whether it's most days or just a few days, or maybe it never happens to you. I'm assuming if you're on this call, you at least experience this, you might experience this a lot. So I'm just curious where we're sitting right now. So let me know in the chat. I see Carol says sometimes. Gwen says yes, most days. Yeah, this is one of the number one things that I hear and discuss with a lot of my clients, especially the first time that I work with them. We talk about how often are you exercising, and if it's not a whole lot, why or why not? Why is it not more? Again, this is one of the number one things that I hear from my clients, and it's so important to understand where this is coming from, and also to have a strategy. If you are saying, yes, this happens to me, have a strategy so that you actually can implement something and change your course of action versus just continuing to not exercise consistently. So this is what we're going to review today. So my numbers are a little bit off here, but first is types of exercise, why is movement important, where to exercise at home, how to exercise throughout the day, and then also knowing your triggers and knowing your exercises, because my goal is that by the end of our talk today, you will have an exact plan of what your exercises are going to be throughout the day and when you're going to do them. So hopefully you'll be able to maybe take some notes, and you'll get the recording of this as well, so that by the end you will feel confident in that. So types of exercises. So there's lots of places and types of exercise that I'm sure we can think of, and I'd love to know in the chat box if you can think of any others. This was just a very short and quick list of the first things that I personally think of. So when you think of exercise, what types or locations do you think of? I think of exercising in a gym or exercising at home, and home is of course what we're going to focus on today. But I also thought you can exercise with machines, you can exercise with resistance bands, you can exercise with weights, with weighted medicine balls. There's so many other things too. I wish this chat box wasn't frozen so I can see, but make sure to keep typing in there because I'm hopeful that it'll come back for me. So there's also swimming, there's Tai Chi, there's walking, there's high intensity interval training. There's so many different types of exercises that we can do. So one thing that a lot of people don't think of is movement as a form of exercise. And this is really important because when we're talking about exercise, I really think we need to change our mindset. We need to change our thoughts around what exercise actually is. Because if you're someone, I'm trying to see in the chat box again, if you're someone who feels like you never exercise, because exercise means treadmill and elliptical and burpees and jumping jacks, and you can't do those things, at least not well or consistently or very long, then you're not going to exercise. And so it's important to have this new concept of what exercise means, and that should include movement as a part of what exercise is. And movement, in my definition, is any moving throughout the day and any movement that you do. So types of exercises. So on days that you tell yourself, because I'm assuming there's quite a few of you guys on this call that might be telling yourself this, on the days that you tell yourself, I didn't exercise today, I really want you to think, did I really sit in a chair or lie down 100% of the day? And there might be days that is absolutely true, and you'll say, yes, that's exactly what I did today, and that's okay. But as long as that's not the majority of your days, I can guarantee you that you are actually getting some exercise in, especially if you're adopting that mindset that exercise equals movement. So did you really sit down, or did you really do absolutely nothing 100% of the day? Or did you get up to go to the bathroom? Did you walk into the kitchen? Did you get dressed? Did you shower? Did you make a meal? Did you go get the mail? Did you go answer the door if someone came and maybe you got an Amazon delivery? Did you get up at all in any way, shape, or form? If so, you did some form of exercise. And I want you to start getting in the mindset of counting that as movement, counting that as exercise, because if you truly feel like you didn't exercise today, and that carries over to tomorrow and to the next day and to the next day, you're going to continue feeling like a failure and discouraged and defeated. And all those feelings do not lead to staying consistent. They just make you feel bad about yourself, and you're going to be in a downward spiral of feeling bad about yourself. So it's going to be really important that you start to open your mind that movement is exercise, and any movement that we do throughout the day absolutely counts. So why is movement important? One of the main reasons that it's important is because it's something you can always do. It's something that you can do on your highest fatigue days. It's something that you can do when your transportation fails you, if there's not a way to get to the gym or to the physical therapy clinic. Movement is something you can do if weather gets in the way, if it's super unsafe outside, icy, snowy, slippery when it's wet. If there's something weather-wise preventing you from getting to the place that you normally would go to, you don't have to worry about it. You can just do movement at home. If you have heat or cold intolerance, movement is something you can do. If any symptom is flaring, more likely than not, you can still perform movement. If you can't perform your daily movements afterwards, like after your day because you're too tired, there's movements that you can do specifically for when you're feeling too tired. So there's always a time that you can move, whereas there's not always a time that you can go to the gym. There's not always a time where you can use weights or weighted balls or resistance bands or anything like that. There's always a time that you can do movement if you know what it is, which of course we're going to review today, and if you're doing it in the right way. So that is super important. In addition to just all of the other benefits, movement will get you stronger. Movement will improve your function. Movement will improve your balance. It will improve your walking. It will improve your mobility. It can improve all of those things, especially when you stay consistent at it. So when it comes to multiple sclerosis, the number one thing that is important in order to improve strength and mobility is to improve the neural pathway. And what I mean by that is when you have MS, the weakness that you have is not simply due to weak muscles. That would be an easy fix. That would be an orthopedic fix. The reason you have weakness is likely due to the demyelination, meaning the reason you're weak is because the neural pathways running from your brain all the way down to the muscle, that is what is weak. That's what's demyelinated. So we need to do exercises and movements that strengthen those neural pathways, not just strengthening the muscles. There's different techniques, different strategies to implement when you're trying to just strengthen the muscle versus strengthening the muscle and the neural pathways. And we've had lots of discussions on this in the past with our discussions about MS-specific physical therapy versus regular physical therapy and functional exercise. But for today's point, we'll move on to how do we do that? Mostly it comes down to high repetition of functional movement, which we'll get into. It doesn't require weights or equipment. It doesn't require these things that we probably have in our mind of what exercise is. It doesn't require a gym. It doesn't require any type of weight or machine or ball or dumbbells or anything, resistance bands. It doesn't require any of that. It requires high repetition of functional movement and consistency. So where to exercise at home? So ask yourself first and foremost, and this goes into what I just mentioned about exercises being functional. And I actually talk about this in my book. There's a whole chapter on functional exercise, and we talk about what functional exercise is, but also thinking about functional positions and functional locations. And so what that means is think about a goal that you have, and you might have lots of goals. Just pick one for right now. What position are you in for that specific goal? So for example, if you're thinking of a walking goal, the position that you're in is standing. You have to be standing in order to walk. If you're thinking about getting out of your car, seated is probably the position that you're going to be in because you're sitting in a car and you need to get out. If you're thinking about having an easier time getting out of bed, lying down might be the position that you're in. So what position are you in? And then a follow-up question is, what room are you in? What environment are you in? So if we're talking about getting out of a car, that's an easy one. A car is the environment that you're in. If you're talking about bed-based goals, your bedroom is where you are, and specifically your bed, but you could even practice that on the couch. If you're trying to stand up with better strength from low or squishy surfaces, that might be a couch. It might be a toilet. If you're looking to balance better when getting into a shower, that's going to be in your bathroom, and specifically however your shower is designed. If you're looking to improve your strength getting up from the floor, any room in your house but the floor is going to be where you are in the environment. So again, thinking about what position are you in, and then what location are you in. Now for walking, I purposely skipped over that one, and we'll come back to it now. Walking is a unique one where oftentimes the location is anywhere, but start with a specific place. Where do you want to improve your walking? Is it in your home? If so, is it from your bedroom to the bathroom? Is it from your living room to your kitchen? Is it from your bathroom to your living room and back? Where is it your stairs? Is it specifically stair climbing? Get very specific on where you want to improve your walking. And then eventually we'll, I'm assuming, work to outside. I want to be able to walk on my driveway, on my sidewalk, on cobblestone. But first, what position and what location? That is how you can figure out your functional positions and locations, which is really important when exercising throughout the day. Then we get down to our 3 rules of the thumb, rule of thumb, but there's 3 rule of the thumbs. So number 1, again, think of the goal. Number 2, think of the location, the position, as we just mentioned. And then number 3 is find a space and time. So find the location and position that you can do this in throughout the day. And again, we're going to just get into a bunch of examples in a second here, but that's what you need to think about. Pick one goal and start there. Or if you've got a lot of time on your hands, you can pick 2 goals, but you don't go crazy. Don't try to do this with all of your goals all at once. So that is the order that you would work in to figure out then how to exercise throughout the day. So I'm going to hopefully click on a bunch of these and show you guys. Okay, so a bunch of you saying, yes, not enough energy to exercise throughout the day. Brenda says, no, awesome. That's good that you feel that doesn't affect you. Someone else saying, yes, not enough energy, Florida heat. Yes, the majority of the days. Yes, 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 sometimes. Yes, but I do exercise every day. Do not have enough energy. Energy is hard, but I try to move around. Awesome. Yes, I feel that way all the time. Either not enough time, then it's not enough energy. Absolutely. I used to work out 6 days a week, so this is a huge change. My balance has been very different in the last year, so exercising has been difficult. Someone else saying no, they don't suffer from this. Not enough energy all at once combined with daily chores. Yep. Tired by 3 p.m. after housework and Planet Fitness. Short spurts before and then out of energy. I've moved my legs a lot and exercise on Thursday. Awesome. We exercise 4 times per week. I do adjust a routine based on physical abilities. Yep. Awesome. Okay, and then we moved into the question of where to exercise and different types of exercises. So we have Deborah says at a local park. Yeah, definitely. Outside is awesome. Carol says aquafit. Yes. Walking in the park and or the mall. The mall is such a good one. Absolutely. Walking barefoot in my yard and practicing up and down the stairs. Yes. Dancing. Absolutely. Walking down a long driveway, picking up the newspaper and the mail, it absolutely counts. Low impact aerobics, yes. For me, everyday life, absolutely. Venturing outside causes an exacerbation. I'm glad you state movement. I use my walker to move around my apartment. I time myself for a 5-minute walk every 30 to 45 minutes, absolutely. Tai Chi, yes. Chair exercises, absolutely. When I watch TV, I sit on a chair so I can get up off the couch. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so we're going to dive into some examples of what it looks like. And these are just, I'm a very visual learner, so I like to show you exactly what I'm talking about. However, we also will then have a plan of attack after these examples of how you can actually implement happy seeing a lot of your guys's responses in the chat because when you are thinking in that way, like a lot of you said, walking in my driveway, that is movement. When you say going to get your mail, that counts as movement. And so a lot of the things that you mentioned count more as movement compared to regular exercise, which is great to see that you guys are in that headspace. Vacuuming, absolutely, yes. So these are, I just pulled either Instagram Reels or YouTube videos from my page. So in this video, I'm demonstrating the marching exercise, but I'm demonstrating how many positions you can actually do it in. And so as I mentioned earlier, if you're thinking about walking, the most functional position is standing. If you're thinking about getting out of a car, the most functional position is seated. So these are ways to do standing marching, seated marching. This would be a best option if you're looking to get out of bed easier or off of the couch easier. And the idea is that you do whichever one is most functional, but also whichever one is easiest. So all of these are the same exercise, just in different positions. And you see my dog Finn there, he looks very fluffy, needs a haircut. So that's the first one I wanted to show you. Then we get into some examples throughout the day. So these are some exercises that you can do on your couch. So even if you did answer the question of, yes, I did sit down 100% of the day, these are some pieces of movement that you can do while remaining sitting. You can do, these specifically are core strengthening exercises, but you could do these at the edge of your bed. You could do these at the edge of your couch. So we've got some marching, we've got some ab lean backs, we've got some penguin. So again, just some examples for you that you could implement even if you're on your couch all day. Or if you're at work or in a computer chair or a kitchen chair, you can do these there as well. And if you guys have any questions about these, just put them in the chat and I'll keep looking there. So this is the one where we're talking about unloading the dishwasher. There's so many ways that you can exercise when unloading a dishwasher if you're being purposeful. So you separate your feet so that you're nice and balanced. The wider your feet are, the more balanced you'll be. And then making sure you're squatting down, as I just demonstrated there, and I keep demonstrating, squat down as you unload the dishwasher. Instead of just reaching, you want to bend your knees. Similar to loading the dishwasher, when you're loading or unloading, squat down with every single repetition. Can you just reach down instead? Yes, absolutely, but it's not as much movement and not as much exercise. So if you can, squat down. Such a simple way to get more movement and strength in throughout the day. Okay, next one. So this one I'm just demonstrating while I'm in the bathroom, specifically brushing my teeth, and I'm going to show you some examples of what to do. So you've got some heel raises while you're brushing your teeth. You've got some toe raises. This one is pretty challenging. I wanted to include it just for variety, but it is pretty hard. You could do some squats, and then you can do some weight shifting, so some balance-based exercises. And this is side to side weight shifting. So instead of front and back in a staggered stance, it's side to side. And I'm demonstrating these when I'm brushing my teeth, but you could do these as you're waiting for the coffee machine, anytime that you are standing and waiting for something, or just maybe while you're washing your hands. You can do these during that time or after. If it's too challenging to multitask, instead of worrying about doing it while you're brushing your teeth, after you brush your teeth, then you do these exercises. You want to set yourself up for success. So this is one where if you are practicing climbing your stairs, if you have a goal of improving stair climbing, what can you do to improve walking up the stairs? And so you can practice climbing your stairs as your own exercise. At the time of this recording, these were the only stairs that I had. I was living in a one-story house. I'll recreate this at some point soon because now I've moved and I have more stairs, but you get the same idea. Practice bending your legs and then lifting it up with every single step. Practice stairs as an exercise. Laundry is another really perfect example of how to just fit exercise into something that you might be doing throughout the day anyways. So again, very similar to the laundry, or not laundry, sorry, the dishwasher. Make sure that you bend down. You're squatting with each and every time that you reach in to grab something. And even if you don't do your laundry directly, like fold your laundry directly out of the dryer, if you have it on the floor, squat down, grab it out of the basket, and start folding it instead of just reaching. Yes, you could just reach down and not use your legs at all. But again, if you're trying to get more movement in throughout the day, this is a really nice option. I see Kimberly says it's hard to get on and off the floor. Yes, so if some of these are too challenging, you make them easier. So for example, if this specific exercise that we're watching right now is too challenging, then maybe instead of having the clothes in the dryer, you have them in a laundry basket on a step, or in a laundry basket on a coffee table. So it's a little bit higher than this. Therefore, you don't have to bend as far down. So it's still the same exercise. You're just not bending as far down. Or if you're looking to improve stairs and that last video was too challenging, you can practice the same exercise standing on a sturdy book that might only be an inch or two thick versus however tall a normal stair height is. Can you share that page with all those links? Yeah, I can share that with you. I'll put that page in the Moving with MS takeaways. So I'll share that with you guys at the end. What happens if you are in a wheelchair? So if you're in a wheelchair and you're doing this specific exercise, instead of squatting down, you sit up tall in the middle of your chair, unsupported. Tighten your abdominal muscles as you reach forward for the clothing. Keep your good posture as you're folding. Put it over here, reach again. It's shocking how much movement and muscle that actually requires just to sit up tall and engage your core while you're moving. So even if you're in a wheelchair, it's the same type of muscle recruitment and that mindful movement, not just let me just grab the shirt and fold it. It's no, let me do it with good form, with intentional movement. I have a step to use for practice. Awesome. Brushing your hair 100 times. Yep. What if I am grabbing? What if I'm wall grabbing when walking upstairs and it is very difficult to get up the stairs now? So if you are wall grabbing, or even if you have a banister and you're pulling as much as you can with your arms because of weakness, what I always suggest is practice, as Lori just said, practice with a smaller step. Get really good strength with a smaller step, or a book, a dictionary, something like that, and then work your way up to a taller and taller item so that eventually it's the height of a step. So this is one of my favorite places to exercise, is the toilet. So after you're done going to the bathroom, stand up and sit down 5 or so times and then move on with your day. This is such a perfect example of a way to get more exercise in. This works your core, it works your glutes, it works your hamstrings, your quads, your calves, even your ankles. So if you're able, stand up and sit down. Anytime after you're sitting, you could even do this if you went to the bathroom or you went to the kitchen to grab a glass of water, but then you're going back to the couch or a chair. Once you get back to that chair, stand up and sit down 5 times. Or if you're in a wheelchair, once you transfer back to your chair, sit up tall with your best posture for as many seconds or minutes as you can. It might be 10 seconds, it might be 5 minutes, but engage your muscles more. That's the whole point of moving more, is just to engage those muscles intentionally. All right, and then we have one more on this slide. So this was me, I'm just watching TV. I see that someone's recording, and it's exercises that you can do as you are sitting, but this one in particular, different from the one that I showed you earlier, is just standing. the simple, not easy, but the simple exercise of standing is often underrated and underused. Standing requires that you use all the muscles on the front of your body, the back of your body, and both sides. If you weren't using all those muscles, you would tip one way or the other. And so just simply standing, again, it's not easy for a lot of people, but it's simple in the fact that it doesn't require much movement. It doesn't require squatting, doesn't require coming up on your toes. You're just staying there. So getting into that standing position and stand for as long as you can. I do start to dance a little, as someone earlier mentioned, dancing counts. Absolutely. Yes, the replay will be available as well. Up and down on the toilet helps me practice so I have no more knee kissing. Yay, that's amazing, Gwen. Standing with feet in tandem is a helpful reminder for me as well. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of tandem stance. So tandem stance is when one foot is directly in front of the other. I'm not a huge fan of that personally, only because it can train your brain that you want to stand like this, and in reality we don't, that we're more likely to trip. But it is a good exercise in that when you happen to end up in that position, if you took a misstep and you landed there, you should be more balanced if you've been practicing that. So now the most important part, I just gave you a bunch of examples, but now the important part is that you figure out what will work for you, your life, your personality, your ability levels. And so the first step is to figure out what triggers, and in this case, triggers is a good word, what reminders, what triggers can you use so that it reminds you to exercise. So the one that I just showed you was the bathroom toilet. So the toilet might be a trigger for you. Another word for trigger is reminder. It might be a reminder, oh, okay, I'm on the toilet, let me get my movement in. Or maybe it's the bathroom sink or a kitchen sink, like if you're washing your hands or brushing your teeth. Maybe it's the coffee pot. Maybe it's your couch, your television, or your remote control. Maybe it's your bed, the dishwasher, the laundry, the dog food bowl, or the cat food bowl. These are just a few ideas, but think about in your day-to-day life, what things are you doing where you could pause for a moment and do a movement. I don't know if you guys follow Can Do MS, Can Do Multiple Sclerosis. It's an MS organization. They call this movement snacks. So it's basically just movement in small little chunks throughout your day. So when can you do those movements? These are my favorite ones that I have listed here, but make your own list. Yours might be when you answer a text, or if you're answering an email, if you pick up the phone, if you're writing something down. What things do you do frequently throughout the day where you could pause and do some movement? Or what things do you do frequently, but not so frequently enough where you'd be doing it every 10 minutes, like going to the bathroom? That's probably something you do many times per day, hopefully, and therefore you would be doing your sit to stand exercises multiple times per day. So anyways, come up with your own list, and if you want, share those in the chat so that other people can get ideas of what triggers, what reminders they can use. Joanna says all of these. Awesome. Yeah, you feel free to take all of mine, but if you do have any others, add them. So that's step number one, is figuring out what are your triggers and or reminders. And then step two is determining what exercises are you going to do when that trigger occurs, when that reminder happens. And you could just pick one exercise. You could pick, for example, for the toilet, for me, usually it's just one exercise. It's just the standing up and sitting down. Or if you're in a wheelchair, it would just be the transferring and sitting up with good posture for as long as you can. If your trigger is something where you're standing for a bit longer, like brushing your teeth, then you could combine a few. Maybe when you're brushing your teeth, you're going to do heel raises and weight shifting, or heel raises and marching. I'm just making these up as I go, but come up with what are you going to do when that trigger happens, when that reminder happens. Because if you're anything like me and most people, if you don't know what it is, you'll think, oh, this is a time I should be exercising. What should I do? And you waste so much time thinking about what to do that you don't actually do it. And then you just get tired and you're like, I'll do it next time. I'm going to go back to whatever I was doing before. So making sure that you know what the trigger is and what exercise you're going to do, what movement you're going to do when that trigger occurs. And the beauty in this is there's no right or wrong. Any movement counts and any movement is good. So whatever you can do is perfect. Don't judge yourself. Don't feel like you should be doing something else. Whatever you can do is perfect. Anything that you can think of. It doesn't have to be something that you see today, whether it was the video demonstrations or my ideas here. It can be anything. Let's see. I can stand but have trouble starting to walk. Yeah, so that would be more of the weight shifting. If we're on the replay, who does the email come from? It should come from me. It should come from Gretchen, I think it might come from hello at Dr. Gretchen Hawley. Toilet is kickbacks. Love that, Pam. What is best for improving going up and down stairs? Oh gosh, it really depends on where you're starting. There's lots of best exercises for going up and down stairs. If you're in the missing link, the online program, not necessarily the book, we have a section in our index for going up and down stairs, and it tells you exactly what exercises to do for that. I will say, in order to climb stairs, you need to have good core strength. You need to be able to shift your weight forward and back safely, so you need to have that balance. You need to be able to march your leg. You need to be able to bend your knee. You need to be able to lift your ankle. So each of those is individual exercises in addition to practicing the thing as a whole, this stepping up on a step as a whole. Okay, so again, how to exercise at home. Of course, we have our trigger and we have our exercises, but I wanted to include this slide because it shows you a variety. Most of the exercises that I included on this last slide, and even in those examples that I showed you via video, they were more strength-based. But don't forget that you can do cardio, and we had a whole Moving with MS webinar on this, but my favorite cardio is seated. So it's mostly upper body type movements. Posture, so just sitting up with your best tall posture away from the back of your chair. Seated core exercises like we saw in some of those videos as well. Strength, we gave a bunch of examples. Flexibility, if you have any favorite stretches, those can count. You can stretch during any of your triggers. Any type of balance exercise. Think lower body like hips, knees, and ankles, or upper body, shoulder, elbows, wrists. It could be opening and closing your hand. It could be bending and straightening your elbow. It could be reaching overhead and then down, overhead and down. Again, anything counts. I cannot stress that enough. Any movement counts. Just move. You'd be surprised at how much that will actually make a difference compared to just sitting throughout the day and just not being intentional about these movements. So it boils down to goals. So again, we got to think about what your goals are. If you've got a lot of goals, hopefully you do, prioritize, maybe pick your top one or two. And or instead of thinking about goals, you can think about what's the desired outcome. You know, do you want to be able to stand for a certain amount of time? Do you want to be able to sit up tall with good posture for a certain amount of time? Do you want to be able to take a certain number of steps? Do you want to be able to climb stairs without pulling yourselves up? What is the outcome that you're looking for? Then number two is the prioritize. You know, again, you might think of 50 different outcomes that you want. Write them all down. You will get to all of them eventually, but prioritize. Pick one or two. Number three, schedule it throughout your day. Or pick your triggers. That's one of the easiest way to do it throughout the day is just do 5 repetitions here, do 5 repetitions there, do 10 repetitions, whatever you can fit in. Number 4, remember what your lifestyle and personality type is like. And this can be really tricky for those of us like myself who tend to be more type A. We want to do our best, so we're going to put as much effort in, do as many exercises as possible. But realistically, if you don't have the energy for that, don't set that as your plan. Set for 5 here, 5 there, 5 later, 5 after that. That cumulatively adds up to a lot. On the contrary, if you don't like exercising in that way, if you're listening to this talk right now and you're like, yeah, this sounds awful, like this, I'm the type of person where I just want to do it all at one time. Great, you can do that too. Listen to your lifestyle and personality and adapt your exercise routine to fit that, because you will then feel more successful and then you will stay more consistent. And then again, knowing your triggers and which exercises you're going to do. And again, this is just a link that I made where you can opt in to receive the takeaways from each of these calls. Of course, you always will get access to the recordings on the MS Views and News YouTube page. The takeaways is more so just a few bullet points of the main points that we talked about. And all of them are there. So even if you're just joining us today for the first time, oh my gosh, when did we even start these Moving with MS webinars? A while ago. All of the notes from the past ones are there too if you did want to scroll through and look. So I just shared that link in the chat. If you want to go ahead and submit that form, you'll be on my list. And I usually try to send them out the following day by around 3 p.m. So I will include those links just for easier reference for you guys. What is the best for improving going? I think there's a few missed words. I think this question is up and downstairs. So we already talked about up the stairs. Down the stairs, I have a post on this too. I forgot to put it in this video. So going down the stairs, as simple as, I know it's not easy to do, but the simplest thing to do, anytime you're wondering what's the best thing that I can do for this specific function, like to go downstairs, one of the best things to do is practice it as an exercise. And then the second thing to do is make it easier, because obviously the thing that's hard is challenging. So you might not be able to be successful doing it as an exercise. So make it easier. A perfect example of this is if you're looking to stand up from a low or squishy surface easier, like a couch, put another cushion on the couch so that you're first standing up from a higher surface. Still squishy, but it's higher. So for the stairs, if going down the stairs is too challenging, practice stepping off of a book. Again, something that's this thick at most, if not this thick. So changing it so it's a little bit easier. Endurance, reducing muscle tension, that's a good one. Sitting in my wheelchair, I'm sitting tall without the back of the wheelchair touching my back. Amazing, that's a great exercise. All right, let's see here. Can you post the link here? So I did post the that link. Let me know if you guys got it. I think you should have received it, but let me know. It's 7:53 here on the East Coast, at least. We never finish with a few spare minutes. Okay, you guys did get the link. Awesome. Any questions, comments, thoughts, anything else? You've got some free time if you guys do have any questions about this topic, about exercising throughout the day, how to exercise throughout the day, why it's important, all of that. Received the link, perfect. What are your thoughts on the balance foam? Great question. So, and by the way, if you are recently joining us, we have a whole Moving with MS webinar on balance, so definitely watch that out. Let me share that link with you guys too, actually. So the link I'm going to share right now, it's a bit.ly link, send to all. That is the link where you can get all of the recordings. Again, even if you just joined us now, they are all there. So my thoughts on balance foam. I think it's always best to first start practicing balance exercises in the position and location, just like we were talking about tonight, that you need balance. So if you feel like I lose my balance when I'm standing and reaching for something just on regular floor, then practice standing and reaching for something on regular flooring without foam. Don't make it any harder than it has to be. Practice that exact thing. Or if you lose your balance when you're walking, practice walking without making anything more challenging. As you get better, as your balance improves and those things are no longer challenging, that's when you can add things like the foam or anything to make balance more challenging. Please post the link again. Okay, so I just posted a link sent to all that. The shorter link, the link that it's bit.ly/30C and then some other letters. That is the link for the recordings from MS Views and News, from these virtual Moving with MS support groups. And then this longer link, it's drgretchenhawley.com/moving with MS. That's the link where you can sign up for the takeaways that I send out. Exactly what I needed to get back on track and organized. Awesome. Where on my phone is the link? So Linda, where you're typing your question is the same area that you should be able to see the links. If for some reason you're not, I'm not sure how else to guide you, because what I see on my end does look a little bit different than what you guys see on your end. If you're still not seeing it in that area, then I suppose you can just type your email and I'll grab it there. Darlene says, loved your book. The webinar helps to make goals and manage my goals. Awesome. So glad to hear that. I was so excited for the book launch. There's just so much information that I feel like everyone with MS should know, but somehow they don't. You know, they haven't worked with MS specialized PTs, or the neurologist hasn't had time to share all this information with them because they're super busy. And so my book is just like a compilation of everything I think you need to know. Is the link sent to our email? So I don't have access to anyone's email. MS Views and News doesn't share emails with me because we didn't want anyone to get duplicate emails or feel like you were added to an email list that you didn't want to be on. So if you do want to get emails from me, I'm not going to email you unless you're on that email list. So again, I'll put that website again. So you need to be on that email list if you want to get those takeaways from me. I use a balance on a chair. I think you may be meaning like balance board or balance something on a chair to improve my core strength while seated. Yeah, absolutely. Do you exercise when you are sick? This is a great question. It depends what type of sickness, and it depends how you're feeling. If it feels like a quick sickness, meaning you'll be fine in a week, maybe it's a quick cold, it feels like it's a quicker thing, then you don't necessarily have to exercise. When you're sick, your body needs rest. Everyone's does, but especially if you have MS, you need rest. You need to give it rest. You should not be pushing yourself a ton or at all when you're sick. So keep that in mind. But the only time where you need to maybe start exercising, even if it's really, really light exercise, if it's not a quick sickness, if it really knocked you on your butt and you're going on week 3, it's so powerful to add in movement even when you're sick, regardless of what it's like compared to how you used to be able to exercise when you weren't sick. Just do something. I have so many examples in my book. I can't remember exactly what page it's on, but one specific client I'm thinking of, his name is Ed. He was doing great in PT, like basically almost meeting his goals, almost discharged him, and then he got the flu and it knocked him down and he lost so much strength, so much mobility, but he continued some of his exercises as best as he could. And once that sickness fully cleared, he bounced back so much faster than if he had just not done anything for 6 weeks or so. So kind of a wishy-washy answer, but it really depends. Okay, just 1 minute left. Let me see. I don't know if I'll be able to answer all these questions, but I'll try. When just standing still, my legs and feet begin to hurt and get painful if I stay standing. Is there anything I can do to help? So one thing is you might need to, it depends why that's happening. It's hard to say virtually. If it's happening due to poor endurance, then practicing standing more frequently, but not until that point of pain. So it might be if you don't ever stand that long, and then every time you do it hurts, like let's just say that happens around minute 4, practice standing for 3 minutes more consistently and see if that helps. Please post the link again. If so, I'm gonna read it out loud right now too, because this is like the 4th or so time that I've posted it. So if you're not getting it, you can type into your browser www.doctor, spelled out, so DOCTOR, Gretchen, GRETCHEN, Hawley, HAWLEY, so it's drgretchenhawley.com/moving-with-MS. So www.drgretchenhawley.com/moving-with-MS. So that's the link if you want to be on my email list where I send out the takeaways. Again, I didn't want to automatically subscribe everyone who's registered to these because not everyone would want the takeaways. So you have to go in and do it yourself. Where can I join missing link? So missing link information would be at www.missinglink.com. So right there, there's a lot of information on that page. You'll click on the missing link. There's a behind the scenes video. There's information where it'll show exactly what type of content is in the program, the different price points, the different options like monthly, semi-annual, or annual membership. So that's where you can find all of that. What if form starts to fail? So if form starts to fail, that is a huge indication to stop exercising. The handouts also have the link. Thank you for that. If we overexert outdoors, how long can we expect? So the average rule of thumb of how long you should be how long you should be fatigued after exercise is 2 hours. If it's ever longer than 2 hours, that is considered that you overdid it. That's all I've got for you guys tonight. I hope that you feel encouraged and motivated to just get moving and really understand that some movement, any movement, truly is better than no movement at all. It honestly can make or break progress. So I hope you feel inspired to get moving, whatever that means for you, and to move consistently because you deserve it. And it's easier than you think it is to fit it in throughout the day. It's not easy to do the exercises, but it is easier to find that time once you're in the right mindset of thinking and looking for that time. So have a good rest of your night, and I'll see you next month. Bye, everyone.